In France, a country I know real well because of my family, the university is free. In Germany, the university is free. Undergraduate and graduate is free. I could keep saying this. Americans need to hear it. It's been that way a long time. My French family, when a child is born, they're covered by a medical insurance, as is the birth. And they are covered until they die. That's it. You injure yourself. I've been a visiting professor at the University of Paris. And when I got my little certificate, it said on it, this is a certificate for your medical. When I had a couple of things, I got strep throat or something, I went to the medical system, gave them my card, and that's it. They took care of me. Nobody,
just because you were a professor?
Because I was a visiting professor. I had a special.
Wow.
If you're sitting, yes. If you teach for less than a month, you're not a member. If you do teach for more than a month, as I did, they take something out, by the way. They take out a premium or whatever, your share. But that's all. They take it out of your weekly. You don't pay. The doctors are all on salary. The doctors explained that to me. We're on salary. We don't depend on how many of you come in here. So they would chat with me. They weren't under the gun to have 15, more people, and none of that. By the way, there was nobody in the office except the doctor. They don't need a clerk. Well, 4. They take my card, stick it in a computer, and there everything there is, and they type in what it is, what's wrong with me, what medication they prescribe, and so forth. Then they said you have to have a lab test. You go down the street, gave them the same card. No one ever billed me. No one ever asked a nickel from it, nothing. But as he explained to me, he says, it's not like your system. We don't have to charge you. We don't need half the money you guys do, because we're not paying 400 secretaries and technicians and clerks. We don't pay one person who's a secretary in my office to fight for weeks with a secretary in the insurance company office over how much we're going. None of that happens here.
One of the ironies I find in what you're saying right now is one of the most common criticisms you hear about socialism and communism is that they lead to this endless bureaucratic bloat that makes it radically less efficient than capitalism.
Yeah, look, that's like telling you that around Christmas time, a reindeer with a red nose is going to show up. Be sure to be nice to him because he has presents. This is an appropriate thing to tell a 4-year-old. But if you're 9, it doesn't work. For adults in the United States to be told such stuff is only possible on the basis of ignorance. They cannot know. And that's why, anyway, when I explain what I just did with you, which I do in my classes, they also all look at me. They want to be told what they expect. That somehow going into a medical office will be confronted with reams of bureaucrats. It's exactly the opposite. By the way, are there bureaucrats in socialist systems? Of course there are, and probably lots of them. But we're not ahead on that score. We got bureaucrats up the wazoo. It's just they work in private, not in the public office. So we don't see them we don't see them in the public office because they're in the private. But they're there. Are you kidding? That's an enormous part of the people who graduate from colleges in this country. That's who they are. They're going to go in all those jobs at various levels. Anyway, let me continue. So if you do Western European socialism or you listen to Bernie, that's what he's about. Bernie gives you idea. I want to tax billionaires. Yep. And I want to control. There should be a minimum wage. That's this guy. We should have national health for everybody. You know what he's doing? He's proposing that the modest levels of support you get in this country be raised to the much more generous levels of support you have in Europe. By the way, most of the rest of the world is in between. More than the United States, less than in Western Europe. In a few countries, Brazil has national health insurance for everybody. They want that. They got that. They also have socialist leaders, like Lula right now. He's a socialist. Of course he's a socialist, has always been a socialist.